Now, ghuluw, we can break it up into three different categories. There is ghuluw that is impermissible, and there is ghuluw that is an innovation, a bid'ah, and there is ghuluw that is shirk. Now, the first one, ghuluw that is impermissible, is whenever you're exceeding something that is halal in general. So, for example, say you are fasting and you want to increase your fast. You don't want to break it on sunset. No, you want to break it, say, at Isha prayer. Now, you're exceeding that limit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we have ghuluw, which is an innovation. And an example of that is somebody going to the graveyard and making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, believing that dua in a graveyard is more accepted. And it becomes an innovation, a bid'ah. Then we have the third category, which is ghuluw, that is shirk. And that is obviously to exceed in the limits of a person or of something to the extent that you start to worship them. Like going to the graveyard and having a ghuluw in someone where you start to ask them of things, sacrificing for them. This is obviously ghuluw in righteous people, for example. Or people who take their prophets as gods or anything like that, that becomes a form of ghuluw, that is shirk. Another form of ghuluw could be with your spouse, with your wife, with your daughters, your sisters. So a person can be over jealous over his wife, and that becomes a form of ghuluw. Jealousy is something that is praised in Islam. Everybody should have jealousy over their wife and kin and so on. However, it should not go and exceed its limits. And exceeding its limits is by you having accusations, thoughts, worries that, oh, my wife might be doing this, she might be talking to this person or whatever. This is from shaitan. And these accusations put you in a state of ghuluw, where you restrict her so much and do things that are unnecessary. And I'll give you an example of a story that happened with me personally. I had a friend, and this friend has a very strong personality. And he's the type of person that was very, very jealous and very protective of his wives. So I was visiting his new house, and obviously there's another villa next to his house, and there's a wall that separates the two houses from each other. So I noticed that he built really long poles, and he put a type of fabric across these poles between the two walls so that nobody in that villa can look across into the yard of his villa. This curtain or whatever it was reached the height of the other villa completely. I told him, brother, you know, if your neighbor goes on the roof, he can still see into your house, right? He told me, I have done what I need to do. Anything more than that, if that guy does not fear Allah, then that is outside my hands. I have done what I need to do as a man. I try to cover to the best that I can do. So that actually shocked me. I didn't think he would react like that. I thought he'd be even more protective and he would even look for other solutions. But when I heard that from him, it really taught me a lesson. That you do what you can, but without exceeding.